Out of every character in this godforsaken show, specifically in these 2 godforsaken episodes, only one person, only one character behaved appropriately towards what happened, somewhat appropriately. It wasn't perfect. It was okay. And you're not gonna guess who it was. Actually, you know what? 2 people behaved appropriately. One person somewhat, the other person might have looked like he didn't behave appropriately, but he did. What is the Meredith and George thing? I will explain it never. Because if you don't know what the Meredith and George thing is at this point, click off the video because you're gonna get nothing out of it. When that happened in the show, the first time I watched it, I was a little confused. I was like, why in the hell are you apologizing? Why are you apologizing? The way that they treated it as if it was bullying? Insane from the beginning. But then I started rewatching the show many times, and every time I rewatch it, I find it's that much more ridiculous that this was treated the way this was treated. And the way that they explain why it was such a horrible thing is because she cried during, and I'm thinking, how is that a horrible thing? How is her crying during it and telling George, oh no, just ignore me, keep going? Such a horrible thing. So surely, if you are on top of a person and they start crying and ask you to ignore them, you're going to step aside and ask, baby girl, are you okay? Are you fine? But did George do that? No, he just left. And there's only one person that explained it perfectly why he was so hurt. Only one person. Alex Karev, baby boy, one of my favorite characters. Alex Karev explained it perfectly. The only reason you're still upset and acting like a freaking baby is because you still like her. You're still into her and you are embarrassed that she rejected you. And I mean, I don't know. I try to put myself in both of their shoes. If I was in George's shoes, I would be so goddamn worried. Why are you crying? Are you okay? Why are you asking me to ignore you and just finish? Are you okay? But these people do not have this level of emotional intelligence. Apparently. I would love to know who was the maniac behind writing this fucking shit. So this is the Meredith and George thing. Apparently I explained it in the end. But then the people's reactions were insane, completely insane, okay? The only person that reacted appropriately was Alex, because first he laughed when he found out about what happened, and then he had that explosion in the locker room where he told them, shut the hell up, get over it, you had a bad experience, we've all been there, grow the fuck up, get over it. Honestly, amazing. The way that kiss was not going to work, amazing. But then Izzie basically said, you know, if there are sides to take, I take George's. And Christina said, come on, is the weaker kid. Even I don't pick on the weaker kid. After she's been picking on George this whole time. The only person who has ever bullied George that hard was Christina. Let's not get it twisted. And the fact that she was like blaming Meredith for giving George hope, even though she knew she wasn't interested in George, when in fact she gave George hope because she was trying to pick the good guy. She was doing that thing that we've all done of having this perfectly wonderful person in front of us, even though we are not into them, but we want to be into them because they are so wonderful and nice and respectful. Have we not all been there? Of course she wanted to try it. She was an emotional wreck after having seen her father. I'm pretty sure she was drunk. And she saw this really wonderful person next to her and she thought, maybe I should give this a try. And then because she was an emotional wreck and because it clearly didn't work, because when does it ever, she started crying. And how is this her fault? To my point of view, is neither of their faults. George took the step finally, which he needed to do to get over it. And she was in a very vulnerable place. So she was like, why not? Alex even says it, once again, very, very succinctly and to the point. This is your thing, Meredith. When you are going through shit, you sleep with inappropriate men. That's your thing. Whatever. I think that's Alex who says that. Why was she bullying him by trying to give him a chance, by trying to believe that he could be the guy for her. Why is it considered that she was bullying him or being rude to him or being mad, being mean to him in some way for giving him a shot, even though she in the deep core of herself knows she doesn't want that, and he isn't considered mean or whatever for going for a woman that clearly does not want him? I mean, you need to be a different kind of blind, George, to not realize that she's not into you. A different kind of blind. And also, Izzie, bad on you for giving him terrible advice. You knew she wasn't into him. Why did you tell him? Why did you make him go ask her out? You should have been honest with George and tell her, yeah, she's not into you, buddy, but try anyway, I guess. Like, literally, everyone's response to this was stupid and made no sense. George's response, by just leaving the bed and never talking to her again about why she was crying, completely stupid and idiotic. I mean, he finds out 2 weeks later by talking to her actual father. That's how they resolve it. Meredith's reaction, stupid. I mean, I understand why she would feel guilty because she's a woman. She made a bad decision, so she immediately blames herself for everything. Totally understand. Everyone around her failed her. Izzie's reaction, stupid to the core. Izzie, you are part of the problem. You told him, you encouraged him to talk to her even though you knew she wanted nothing to do with him. Christina's reaction, completely stupid. What do you mean she's bullying the weaker kid? You are the bully, Christina. Completely inappropriate. Alex's reaction, perfect. That was so childish. Alex's reaction every single time, perfect. And then we have another person whose reaction was okay. And this person, surprisingly, is Derek. Because when Meredith tells Derek looks a little disappointed, but I think he's more disappointed by the idea that she felt so desperate that she slept with George than the idea that she was mean to him by crying. But then he's like, and he gives her advice. Just talk to him, apologize, whatever. Which, by the way, why was she apologizing? She was apologizing for crying. She was apologizing for giving him a chance. But anyway, best reaction, Alex. Decent reaction, Derek. Everyone else needs to go repent for their sins because the way they treated that girl was not okay. Not okay. And I can prove it to you. The most appropriate reaction for what happened would have been to laugh. Would have been when Meredith thought, like when everyone found out that she slept with George, the most appropriate reaction would have been to laugh. What Alex did, he laughed. That's the most appropriate. Not in George's face, behind his back. That's the most appropriate reaction, and I can prove it to you because seasons later, years later, they did it again. Okay? They did it again. They had one character who was kind of having a complicated relationship with another character who was supposedly a bad boy that then reformed himself and became a good boy. You know, like a dog. And she's having a tough time, so she decides to pick the good kid to sleep with. She is in the bar, the good kid hits on her, and she's like, why not? Why can't I end up with a good guy? Why can't I end up with a good, wholesome, cute, nice guy? Why do I always have to pick the jerks? Why can't I end up with a nice guy? So she picks him. She gives him a chance. She goes home with him and she sleeps with him. And the next day, she tells her friend, because she needs advice about this very embarrassing thing that she did, sleeping with a good guy who she would never look at in a million years, the same way that Meredith would never look at George in a million years. And whenever she tells anyone, the only thing they do is laugh. They laugh at her like, girl, you were that desperate to have a good relationship or a good experience that you went for him. It's the only thing they do. They laugh, including my main man, Alex, laughs because who was this? Joe. Because it was when Joe slept with glasses. Do y'all remember that? It's the same thing. Practically the same thing. Well, Glasses wasn't in love with Joe the same way that George was in love with Meredith. Whatever. They laugh about it because it was an embarrassing thing that she did, so they laugh. That's what they should have done with George. Laughed it out. The fact that she was so guilty of sleeping with him, knowing that she didn't want him, even though she was in a very vulnerable place and needed easy love to comfort her. I will never get over this plot point. I hate it so much, and it comes after one of my favorite plot points, which is the explosion. Anyway, this is my truth on it. This is my opinion on it. I hate it. I hate practically everyone's reactions apart from Alex. I like George as a character. He's fun. But when he does shenanigans like this, when he demands so little respect from people that people literally treat him like a wounded puppy, who said it? Someone said, if you want crappy things to stop happening to you, stop accepting crappy things or something. I don't know if this was said to George or not. It applies to him. I feel like we've all met a George in our lives. A person who clearly likes us in some way, who has a crush or something like that. And I mean, I've had my weaker moments of considering doing it. Never done it. Never went there. I mean, no. But we all had that. Like, that's a universal experience. But going there doesn't make anyone evil or mean or a bully. At most, it made her desperate, which she was. Anyway, as I said, this is my piece on the matter. I will not speak about it further. Let me know in the comments what you think about this whole Meredith George thing. And yeah, I'll speak soon about something else about Grey's Anatomy or any other show that annoys me. Okay, bye. Bye. Why am I so awkward?